Well, this project's taken a left-hand turn. Okay, I'll explain why. My initial idea for this project was to get a piece of tubing wide enough so that I would drill a hole here, cut a slot with 2 passes of my angle grinder. I would then slide this into the tube, and having spaced it properly, I would then put an end cap on the tube, which would apply pressure, holding the thing in place. And then I would be done. Just slap the other cap on the other end of the tube, and we're good to go. It hasn't quite worked out that way. You see, this is 1.320 or 25 in diameter, which is a pretty significant diameter. So if I could get a tube large enough to hold this diameter here, the tube's too big to grip with your hands. Now, yes, I could get a piece of tubing roughly this length, or have it made, and then screw the whole unit together with a reducer and things. But that makes the process more complex, more prone to fail, because there'll be more joints involved. And black pipe and the fittings for black pipe is actually not cheap. I see people online talking about how they build things really cheap with pipe and galvanized pipe and black pipe. I don't know where they're getting black pipe and galvanized pipe that's cheap, but this piece right here cost me like 13 bucks. It's a 3-foot piece with like I think it's 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So I've changed my mind. So this is what I'm going to do instead. The goal here is still to space this so that when you put a cap, it will apply pressure. But instead of just it being a completely open slot, my goal is to drill 2 holes, one of them up here in the threads, and then one further down, and join them with slots. And if I end up having some overcut, it'll be on this end probably, so I'm not too concerned about it, because again, I'll be putting a cap on it and it will cover up that overcut with any luck. And then I will put a slot all the way through this, past this piece here, through said slot, put the cap on, which will hold it in place, and then I will drill 2 other holes that will, with any luck, if I space them properly, will go through here and here, and then use those to put a length of this rod through it, put a cap on either side, probably a cap nut just for aesthetics, put a cap nut on either side, probably something nice and shiny for contrast between the black pipe and the fasteners, and then it will be done. I'm not going to sharpen this, it's way too thick to put any kind of an edge on it. I'm going to leave it just like this, and you'll end up with a device that's going to look, if everything works out well, kind of like this. Like that right there. So you'll end up with what is essentially a Warhammer, with a heavier blunt striking surface on this side and a slightly well, the end will weigh the same, but the impact head will be less weight on this side. But this would be better at denting armor and such because it will be narrower. And this whole thing weighs at the moment 3 pounds. It will weigh a little less when I'm done because I'm going to drill 2 holes with my drill bit through it. This is the drill bit I'll be starting with. This is a 1/4 inch Milwaukee titanium coated drill bit, also known as a tin bit. Titanium nitride coating is on it. So when it says titanium, they mean titanium nitride. And then I'll pass the rod through there and again truss it up. So if everything works out, those holes will end up right there. And I just got myself a set of center punches recently, so I'll be able to center punch that. So hopefully the drill bit will not walk, which will be nice. And I have my drill press, and I have which will help me drill the initial holes with 1/4 inch, and I'll probably have to open those up. I actually don't know what size that is yet. I haven't measured how wide that is. But I have vernier calipers, so you know. That's something we can do. So there you go. So again, left-hand turn, new project. We're going to see if this works. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm hoping it does, and I think it will be kind of cool looking when I'm done. Alrighty, the 2 holes have now been drilled for the slot that I need to make. My spacing was not perfect. The holes are too far apart. I should have brought the 1/4 inch holes I wanted. Both, that one should have been where it was, but that one should have been about 1/4 inch further this way. So the cap is going to be purely decorative. It is not going to actually be able to clamp this in place, I don't think. We're going to find that out once I have the slot made. And that may not be a total deal breaker, because this thing varies from like half an inch to like 500 to like 535 from different spots, because I mean it's just cast metal, it's not a precision ground device. So the slot having a little extra room in the ends may work into my advantage, because I'm gonna be a kind of a pain in the butt. I'm gonna start by trying to build a slot from the outside of the disc to the outside of the disc. So the disc has thickness, you know what I mean? It does have a thickness. This may be the disc I'm using, I'm not sure. But the disc needs to come in like this, so I'm going to try to get the edge of the kerf, and the kerf is the thickness of the blade, on there and go across. And then if I end up having to grind some out to make it a little bit wider, I have grinding discs, so that's not an issue. That's totally doable. You can always make something wider when you're removing material. You can't add it. So you got to be careful. You always start small and you try to inch your way towards your final target. The old woodworking adage of, you know, measure twice, cut once is still in play here. I just didn't measure properly. I didn't calculate that. If I have far better skills in math, because my skills in math are horrible, this might have gone better. So now it's going to be to set things up in the vise, and you can see the vise really had to grip the crap out of this pipe already just to drill these holes, because when I went through there to open it from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, it torqued a number of times and really caused this whole thing to just the bit to grab and the whole drill twisted on me. So yeah, it's a workout doing this kind of thing. Okay, I'm halfway there. I have a slot through half the part. It is, however, not the prettiest slot. There we go. This side, over here, the far side, actually came out pretty good, because when I was cutting it, I was looking at the blade on the side where the grinder is not. The angle grinder is not in my way. On this side, the angle grinder is in my way. So I went off track in a couple of spots. But I was able to, again, widen that up with the metal grinding as opposed to the metal cutting blade, and clean that up. And you can see I hit the inside of the tube there on more than one occasion. So this is now just barely big enough to fit that. I don't want to go any further. I'll do the other side, because if I can, I'd like to actually hammer this in place or whack this against something, and so that it's nice and firmly set, and then I'll drill the holes. And again, the caps are just going to end up being purely decorative. I mean, well, the other cap will keep your hammer from sliding off. But this one's going to be purely decorative when I'm done, which is fine. I don't care. But yeah, so we're halfway done, and I've made a lot of sparks and made a big mess, and this is tiring. So I'm going to call it good for the day, and I'll come back to do this probably tomorrow. So there we go. That is the weight now placed in the slot where I want it. It was not pretty. Many sparks were made. Showering myself in them. Yay. And I basically just put this weight in here and then took it to my granite steps and hit it repeatedly until I got it tweaked to the point where I was happy. So there's granite kind of embedded in my weight here, both sides, because I was I'd push it one way, then I push it the other way until I finally got it to where I like it visually. And so now I have made 2 small dings here, the nail set, and then I'm going to now drill through the whole thing. At least in theory, I have a stainless steel. I have a high-speed steel drill bit. So, and then I will drill all the way through. And then I actually realized I don't have any 1/4 inch rod. I thought I had some 1/4 inch 20. I don't. I got some 5/16, but I don't have a 5/16 high-speed drill bit. So I'm going to go and have to go pick up some 1/4 inch rod, because I want to put cap nuts on either side when I'm done. So I need gonna need to get some 1/4 inch rod, it's 1/4 inch cap nuts. And of course, you know, that's an excuse to go to the hardware store. And well, let's be honest, I don't really need an excuse to go to the hardware store. But it also is an excuse to go to Goodwill to drop off some stuff that I have sitting on the porch. And there we go. One completed Warhammer, converting a 3-pound hand weight into a 2-handed impact weapon. I'm quite happy with this project. It's not perfect. The slot process is not the neatest thing in the universe. This hole is actually not perfectly aligned with the way I wanted it to be. But, you know, live and learn. And sometimes I don't have all the fixturing perfectly aligned so that I can hold things exactly the way they need to be held. But it's not coming apart, I can tell you that right now. And this would definitely be a significant impact weapon, seeing as it's 3 feet long. And it's got a 3-pound weight on the end. So yeah, this has definitely achieved my goal. So, I'm going to go outside, take some pictures, which will be at the end of this video. And I hope you've enjoyed yourself. And if you have any suggestions for future builds, drop me a note.